Today on NewsCenter, learn about a grant awarded to the Camden Carroll Library, hear what MSU soccer coach has to say about their game loss on Sunday, and get a closer look at Moorhead's annual Arts and Eats Festival. All this and more today on NewsCenter.
Good evening and welcome to NewsCenter. I'm Jacob Miller.
And I'm Kenzie Thompson. Thanks for joining us. Here's your headlines for September 22nd, 2016. The couples who sued Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis in 2015 after she refused to issue marriage licenses are seeking more than $233,000 in legal fees and costs. Davis was jailed after she refused to comply with a court order to stop denying couples a marriage license. Rowan County deputy clerks issued licenses while Davis was jailed. The state changed marriage license forms so that the clerk's name did not have to be on the documents, and the case was later dismissed. The religious advocacy group that defends Kim Davis did not immediately respond to a phone call and email seeking comment.
The Camden Carroll Library received a grant recently aimed at helping them with a new project to archive anything involving marriage equality, starting with the events that the Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis set in motion. NewsCenter reporter Jacob Valerio went to the library to check out the story.
We received a grant from the Kentucky Historical Society, and part of that is the Kentucky Oral History Commission, to conduct oral history interviews with persons involved in the events that unfolded last summer when the Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis refused to issue marriage licenses to couples in this town. So far we've done interviews with some of the plaintiffs, some of those who were denied a license. We're in the process of getting the local elected officials done, and hopefully the clerk and the deputy clerks herself, and then really anybody that has an opinion. I mean, we want to get opinions from local business owners about how this affected their business. Did people stop visiting town because of this? Did more people come in? And then tourism, like how is this going to affect us as a whole? And then even from the university perspective, because we kind of have two different communities going on. We have the campus-wide community and then the county as a whole, and they're kind of a separate entity in that sense. So there's going to be two completely different perspectives on that front. Well, anytime you get a grant to preserve history, you're helping the library and you're helping the university and the city by preserving history. I mean, that's what we're doing here, is preserving history. And that's what a library is for. It's not just many people consider a library to be a warehouse for books, but people are going to come here in the future and going to be writing papers on marriage equality in Appalachia, and they're going to hear these stories, and these are first-hand accounts, and they're going to have a 2-hour-long interview, just a dialogue with a person denied, to use that as a primary source of information. So, I mean, that's pretty significant, and it adds to our research efforts here at Moorhead State.
Ahmed Khan Rahami has been charged with the pipe bomb explosion in Seaside Park, New Jersey on Saturday morning and the explosion in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan Saturday evening that injured 31 people. Rahami has been charged with several crimes, including the use of weapons of mass destruction and bombing a place of public use. The criminal complaint against him outlines how close the attacks came to causing death and even more destruction. According to investigators, a page from Rahami's notebook has a list of international terrorist leaders and suggests that he drew inspiration from Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. However, investigators have not discovered a link between Rahami and known terrorist groups, and no one has claimed responsibility for his attacks. Rahami was taken into custody Monday morning and is recovering in New Jersey from wounds he sustained in a shootout with police.
College campuses are in what's known as the red zone, where the risk of sexual assault is greater in the first few weeks of a new school year. Director of the Kentucky Association of Sexual Assault, Eileen Reckenwald, says bystander intervention has become an important part of prevention. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, it's estimated that for every 1,000 women attending a college, there are 35 incidents of rape each academic year. It is also reported that 9 out of 10 victims of rape and sexual assault know their attacker.
The head of the U.S. Justice Department brings the fight against heroin to the Commonwealth. U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch visited the University of Kentucky on Tuesday to outline the federal government's role in helping states stem the tide of opioid abuse. The brief address was one of the more than 250 events making up an Obama administration National Prescription Opioid and Heroin Epidemic Abuse Week, intended to highlight what the Attorney General called the government's all-hands-on-deck approach. Lynch says more than $8.8 million is being funneled into drug monitoring programs on a national level. The nation's top cop closed by saying, quote, The great work that is being done here in Kentucky is a model that should be replicated around the country. We will be looking to you as an example for other states, end quote.
Now entering into the second week since the historical overdoses that struck Round County, officials are now faced with how to handle the growing drug epidemic. Last Tuesday, city officials met with residents inside the Moorhead Conference Center to discuss ideas and for officials to reassure the public that the problem is actively being handled. NewsCenter spoke with Round County Assistant Attorney Ashley Atkins on the next steps for this community and why she felt having a public forum was needed.
You know, I think inside of the meeting, the great thing was once we announced we were having the forum is how many people reached out to us wanting to know where they could get more information, how they could be more involved, what they could do to help. So we had two full panels. We had a panel of law enforcement officers and first responders, and then there was also a panel of treatment providers and public officials. There were approximately 250, 300 people there at the forum, community members. I felt like everybody was on the same page in terms of they recognized there was a problem. We had to do something about the problem. They recognized the seriousness of it. But importantly, they also were very unison about the fact that this is an addiction and we have to treat it like a disease, and we need to help these people who are addicted to drugs, whether it be heroin or what else, to get the help and get the rehabilitation that they need.
Coming up, Chris Horn is in the NewsCenter Weather Center with your forecast.
And also we ask MSU students how they feel about professional athletes kneeling during the national anthem. All this and more next.
It never gets old, huh?
Nope.
It kind of makes you wanna...
Breaking the song?
Yup. I love the sunset.
I love Eagle Lake.
I love the forest. I love when eagles play.
I love the campus!
And all its sights and sounds.
Boom-de-yada, 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 boom-de-yada.
I love philosophy.
We love diversity. I love English.
And all its weird words.
I love the music.
And all its melodies. Boom-de-yada, boom-de-yada.
Boom-de-yada, boom-de-yada.
I love fraternities.
I love sororities.
I love to draw things.
And all the athletes.
I love Moorhead.
It's such a pretty place.
Boom-de-yada, 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 boom-de-yada.
If we both drink, how are we getting to this party? You leave that to me, young buck. You leave that to me, young buck. There's better decisions I can make than to get in the car with a drunk driver. I can get a shuttle, an Uber, even call a friend. You know what, kid? That's not a bad idea. Why didn't I think of that?
And welcome back. And today, we've been into the mid-80s. It's been mainly clear today, but the real story is, it is fall. That is right, the first official day of fall. And it's been a very hot day on the first day of fall. As we are looking into our record temperatures, back in 1936, that's a very hot day, especially for in September. So I'll be wearing a tank top, maybe some shorts back then. But back in 1918, I'll be wearing some sweatpants, even a sweater, maybe two sweaters. Well, would have been sitting above these normal high and a normal low. We've been going above and below it. That's right, we've been going above and below. Looking at our first live radar, brought to you by WKYT, it's been mainly clear throughout the Commonwealth. Louisville, you were actually in the 90s today. That's right, you and Frankfort both got into the 90s. Lexington and Richmond, you both got into the high 80s today. We do have a spotty shower going into Bowling Green, but that should dissipate before the end of tonight. Looking into tonight, it's going to be clear. That's right. Just enjoy your fall night. It's going to be in the low 60s. Sunset, it's going to be about. and t-shirt for tonight. And now, back to Kenzie.
There's been a huge commotion in and out of the sports world about San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick and his decision to protest standing for the national anthem during his NFL games. Some people agree with his decision, and some people are outraged. NewsCenter's Brandon Louder spoke with a few MSU athletes to see how they felt about Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem on the 15th anniversary of 9/11.
I feel that his intentions were pure and that he's trying to stand for something just because of the fact that there was a lot of racial discrimination back when the Pledge of Allegiance was made. That's why he has an afro now to represent like the Black Power and stuff. But when it comes to 9/11, I felt like he could have put that kind of on the back burner because that wasn't just toward one particular race, that was toward our entire country. And our country had to bounce back from that, and we still are bouncing back from that till this day. So I felt like he could have showed more respect to our country and what we've had to go through instead of just focusing on one specific like race or whatever.
I think it was very disrespectful. I completely understand where he was coming from and why he did it, but on that day, he was just out of line, I think, because 9/11 is bigger than all of us, and it's a much bigger deal. So he needs to show respect for those that went through it back then, because it's kind of like a big deal today.
I feel that Kaepernick is right with what he's doing because with him having a big stage, with him being a superstar, more people will look at him, and his role is more important with All Lives Matter because we need to take a stand as people, and all race matters, and how police brutality is going on today, and it's not just about the 9/11, even though that is an important event, but more things are going on today that needs to be fixed and can be fixed with people taking a stand.
When we come back, Chris Horn has a look at your extended forecast, and Holly McClurkin is in with your Eagle Athletics update.
Addison, why are you dressed up like that?
Because you're in a dream, John.
How can you prove that?
Your body's still there.
What?
Wake up and smell the coffee. Java City.
And welcome back. Look at our current conditions. We were sitting in the mid-80s today, but on our first official fall day, that is really hot. Compared to what we were experiencing last year, we were sitting in the mid-70s last year, so it is relatively warm. The humidity was not even a factor today, sitting into the low 30%. Wind, really no wind today, so ladies, your hair was not a mess, especially when you're drinking that pumpkin spice latte today. Those are going to be going in and out. Looking into our fall season, yeah, it is the official start. Temperatures will be going in up and down throughout the entire October and November. And that is right, the leaves will be a problem for most houses and lawns. So get out there and start just raking. And just think about this, closer to Thanksgiving. That's right, closer to eating that turkey and then getting right back out there and raking those leaves right back up. Taking a look at our First Alert Live Radar, brought to you by WKYT. We got a little spotty shower here next to Bowling Green, but that should go dissipate throughout going into tonight. Looking to the eastern part of Kentucky, that is right, you are clear. You're going to be clear through the rest of the day today, and there will be some spotty clouds going into tonight. But looking to Lexington, you were sitting at 89. Richmond, also 89. Frankfort and Louisville, you were sitting into the 90s. Looking to tonight, for our first official fall day, it's going to be clear, sending into the low 60s. Sunset, it's going to be about 7:30, so just enjoy it. Go out, have some fun with your friends, throw the football, or go on a lovely show with your dog. Just enjoy it while it lasts. Going into tomorrow, it's going to get hot. That is right, still steamy. We're going to get into the low 90s, but it's going to stay clear, so don't expect any of the clouds to give you some of that cover. And the sunrise, it's going to be about 7:30, so you might just want to be prepared for the hotness of tomorrow. We'll get into their 7-day forecast. Going into Saturday, the temperatures will be staying into the high 80s. Going into Sunday, we'll be into the mid 80s, and we'll be staying above the average. But going into Monday, 30% chance of rain, and the temperatures will be still stuck into the mid 80s. Going into Tuesday, our storm chances will be a little higher, but our temperatures will be dipping back down into the 70s. And Wednesday, we're going to be having some storms coming back around, but the temperatures drop into 70. That is right. And during the night, it will be getting down into the high 40s. And then Thursday, the storm chances will be going away.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. I'm so excited. It's the first day of fall. Looking forward to those cooler temperatures next week. All right, we are going to send it over to Eagle Athletics with Holly McClurkin.
Your home for the Morehead State Eagles, this is NewsCenter Sports.
Last Sunday, Morehead State soccer fell 2-1 against Valparaiso in a nail-biting double overtime game. Valpo scored early in the game, and the Eagles had no answer until late in regulation. Freshman goalkeeper Caitlin Mason had 6 saves, giving sophomore Shelby Huddleston the opportunity to tie up the score. Late in the game, after rigid defense from both sides, Valpo finally secured the victory in the second overtime. NewsCenter reporter Damon Huff talked to Coach Lipka about their tough loss.
You know, I thought it was a really hard-fought match on Sunday. Came back from a goal down, had our chances to win the game, just didn't fall that way. But we saw a lot of good things. I think we had more attacking chances on Sunday that we've created from the whole year. So, I think we just kind of scratched the surface of some of the things we can do with this team. I think sometimes being young and that we play not to lose, So you don't go out and sometimes you're not the aggressor, sometimes you're not the one who's imposing the play on them, and we got to learn how to do that. That comes with experience and getting success. We haven't had a ton of success. We've had bits and pieces, but I think there's a lot of the way we started on Sunday was mostly sophomores and a couple juniors and Ange, who was a senior, and they really kind of showed a little bit more experience on the field. So, I think that we got to look to our players. They're not older players; they're just sophomores, but they've got to step up and kind of show the younger players the level of intensity and competitiveness that it needs to be successful in this league. So we're going to build on that, today. We're going to build on it the next couple days and get ready for, Thursday.
The Eagles will be starting conference play this Thursday at 7 p.m. when they host Austin Peay Governors at Jane Stadium. The volleyball team hosted 3 teams in Weatherby Gym during Family Weekend. The first game they played was against Copen State on Friday morning at 11 o'clock. The Lady Eagles beat the Bald Eagles 3-1 during the game against Copen State. Morehead led the first set 25-22, but fell in the second 25-14. The Lady Eagles came back in the last set with a score of 25-17 to win the match in 4 sets. Morehead led the match in kills, aces, assists, and digs. Both teams were tied with 5 blocks. Later on that evening, they lost to the Golden Flashes of Kent State in a sweep of 3 sets. Against Kent State, MSU led in aces 2-1, and both teams tied with 4 blocks to complete the series. The Lady Eagles lost to the Montana Grizzlies with a score of 3-2. Morehead led the first 2 sets against Montana, but couldn't maintain the momentum throughout the 5-set match to take the win. Morehead topped the match in kills, assists, and digs, but Montana led in aces and blocks. The volleyball team will travel to play the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State on Friday, September the 23rd at 8 p.m. to begin OVC play. The Morehead State Eagles win their first game of the season this past Saturday in front of their Family Day weekend crowd. MSU dominated the Lions of Lincoln, Pennsylvania 56-6 at Jane Stadium. Senior quarterback Austin Gayhafer continued his streak of offensive excellence by completing 22 of 35 passes for a total of 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. "I'm really pleased to win the way we did," said head coach Rob Tenyer. "I thought we were playing a really physical brand of football, which I'm most proud of. Overall, I think we were just in better position to make plays on both sides of the ball. We're being tough, and I really like that about our team." End quote. Throughout the game, 7 different Eagles scored touchdowns, including sophomore quarterback Lawson Page, who scored his first career touchdown in the final quarter. On defense, the Eagles recorded 3 sacks, and senior safety Dominique Iori finished with an interception. As the Eagles improved 1-2 in their season, they head on the road to Des Moines, Iowa to begin Pioneer Football League play against preseason 3rd-ranked Drake this Saturday at 2 p.m. Morehead State rifle team member Brandon Breyer is preparing for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. The sophomore from Scarborough, Maine, grew up in a family of hunters, so his sport of choice was a natural decision. As his love for shooting grew, Breyer joined a rifle club in his local community and was the first person in the history from the state of Maine to go to college for rifle. Breyer explained, "It's a game of millimeters. You have to come prepared to shoot a 10 every shot." End quote. In rifle, there are 2 types of guns being shot, a .22 caliber small bore rifle and an air rifle. Your scores are based on 60 shots of each gun at a target from 50 feet away. The absolute center of the bullseye is a 10.9, the size of a period in Times New Roman font. Shooting an 8 is considered a low score in college. "It's one of the most mental sports," Breyer said, on why the sport deserves appreciation. The rifle athlete is competing throughout the year to score high enough to be placed on the USA National Development Team, where his journey to Tokyo will begin. The selection process officially starts in 2019, where if you have done well enough to get an invite, you step to the line to shoot against the best of the best and hope that you perform well enough. None of the scores from the past 3 years matter. It is all about how you perform on that day to make the Olympic team. We wish Brandon the best on his Olympic journey, and make sure to support the rifle team as it has its first match of the season, October 15th against Virginia Military Institute. We'll be back with more news after this.
A physician who founded the Alliance for Innovative Medicine told a panel of state lawmakers in Frankfort yesterday that Kentucky should allow the use of marijuana for medical purposes. Dr. Dawn Stacy appeared before House and Senate members of the General Assembly's Health and Welfare Committee. Stacy operates a cancer clinic in Jefferson County and says cannabis appears to be highly effective in the treatment of patients with severe pain, nausea, and other problems frequently associated with cancer. He says he's skeptical of alternative medicine, but his experience in the field has convinced him medical marijuana has its place. Dr. Stacy says he's legalizing cannabis for medical use would also likely help alleviate Kentucky's epidemic of opioid overdoses. He says people who smoke marijuana rarely use other drugs or alcohol. He explains it's not possible to overdose on cannabis. State Senator Dr. Ralph Alvarado says he needs to see more research on medical marijuana before he could approve the drug for widespread use. Alvarado has a family practice in Winchester. He's open-minded about the possibility, but says key medical and law enforcement organizations have yet to take a position on it. Dr. Alvarado says he supports more research on the issue. He serves on the Senate Health and Welfare Committee.
U.S. News and World Report has ranked Morehead State as one of the top schools in the South for the 13th year in a row. NewsCenter's Brian McGee spoke with Stephen Ralston, the Chief Academic Officer of Morehead State University, to learn more.
So we are ranked this year by U.S. News and World Report 24th
of public universities in the South, and there were many public universities in the South, so this is clearly an honor. I think last year we were 25th, so we moved up a spot. On the one hand, it's wonderful to be ranked so high and held in such high esteem. And, those rankings really suggest that, our faculty and staff here are doing a wonderful job for our students. Many universities are not ranked so highly, so we're really proud of this. But most important, it represents the work that we do and the faculty do here, and that's what I'm most proud of. It really suggests the kind of hard work we're doing. Even in difficult financial times, we still are maintaining that high level of quality. So quite proud of it, and quite proud we're moving up, and that's a wonderful testimony to our faculty. Higher education is in a state of change, has been for the last almost decade, and we are certainly part of that process. It's budget shortfalls, tuition rising, especially in our 22 county service region, declining population. A lot of factors have changed the way we think about doing our business. But the one thing we haven't changed is the way we think about ensuring that our students have the best opportunity for success while they're here and afterward. But how we do it, has changed insofar as we have to think differently about how we recruit our students and get our students prepared, because the student demographics are changing over the years. And so we're keeping up with the change. I'd like to think that in a few years we'll be ahead of the change. Some of the things we're doing now, both in the recruitment of students and how we prepare students here, are, I think, in many ways ahead of most institutions. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're ranked so highly in U.S. News World Report. I think people understand that.
NewsCenter reporter Holly McClurkin went to the Arts and Eats Festival this past Saturday to get a closer look at how Moorhead displays the culture of the region through food and arts.
This past Saturday, the Rowan County Arts Center hosted its 6th annual Arts and Eats Festival. Prior to the event, I talked to Ashley Gilliam, the Rowan County Arts Center director, to hear what she had to say about the Arts and Eats Festival.
The Arts and Eats Festival was created to raise money for, at the time it was Rowan County Christmas. Each year as it's grown, we've been able to select different charities to support. And so we've been doing this since 2011, and we've raised over $69,000 for local nonprofits.
Those who attended the event on Saturday had the opportunity to enjoy several varieties of the region's cultures.
You can always expect great food and amazing arts and crafts. That we've got a wide variety. We have everything from just your average bake sale to something like bison burgers and Korean beef tacos, fried bologna, Spam sandwiches, and then you've got your chicken and dumplings, hot dogs, corn dogs, those kinds of things. So we have a wide variety for all kinds of foodies out there. And as far as arts and crafts, everything is made either locally or surrounding counties. So you're supporting people that, have their own business, that are doing things that they love, and you're, instead of like buying a CEO another house, you're buying like, oh, my kid wants to send my kids to soccer camp or pay my electric bill. So it's all about buying and shopping local.
In addition to supporting local businesses, this year the proceeds from the Arts and Eats Festival went to 4 organizations: the Rowan County Arts Center, Downtown Moorhead, Gateway Children's Advocacy Center, and Build-A-Bed. For NewsCenter, this is Holly McClurkin.
For more information on events hosted by the Rowan County Arts Center, you can visit their website at www.rowancountyartscenter.com.
The 18th Annual Cave Run Storytelling Festival is aimed to take place on September 23rd and 24th at the Twin Knobs Recreation Area at Cave Run Lake. You can listen to America's most beloved storytellers beginning at 9:45 a.m. on Friday and 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. Food vendors and sales tents will be available throughout the festival. Well, that's going to be it for us tonight. Remember, you can always find your news on our News Center's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages.
And you can catch this newscast again on msutv.net.
On behalf of everyone here at News Center, I'm Jacob Miller.
And I'm Kenzie Thompson. Have a great evening.